Good morning, everyone. My name is Brian Joseph, and I'm a Senior Sales Manager at CDW Canada. I'd like to thank everyone for joining our Meeting Room Transformation webinar, which is hosted by CDW as well as Microsoft. Today's presenter, Jared Burnett, he joins us from Microsoft as a leader of their product marketing team. They really focus on Microsoft 365 as well as modern workplace strategy. Jared has been with Microsoft as a 10-year veteran. Prior to that, he's been 15 years in media and consumer packaged goods. And Jared really has jumped at the opportunity to join Microsoft Sales in 2009, and now he's helping small and medium-sized organizations reach their full potential by drawing on his experience in using these tools. With that said, I'm going to turn the microphone over to Jared, and we'll join you back towards the end of the presentation.
Hey, thanks, Brian, for that introduction. And most importantly, thanks to everybody on the phone that has joined this call. Over the next 35 or 45 minutes or so, we'll take you through what Microsoft Teams is all about and what Microsoft Teams meetings and meetings rooms can do for you. So here's our agenda. We'll take a quick look at our Skype for Business to Teams transition. Of course, Skype for Business is going end of support in just over a year. We'll take a brief look at Microsoft Teams, the hub for teamwork, the enabler for all of this in Office 365. We'll take a quick look at Microsoft Teams governance. What does that look like? Where is the data held, stored? How do we make sure the right people are accessing the right data at the right time? We'll then take a look at Microsoft Teams meetings and the environment of a Microsoft Teams room to see what that amazing experience looks like in conjunction with some of our technology partners. And then finally, we'll wrap up with a quick look at business transformation opportunities with Microsoft Power Apps and Power Automate, part of our Power Platform. So those are the 5 topics we'll go through over the next few minutes. And here we go. Upgrading from Skype to Business to Microsoft Teams. Something that's going to happen or has already happened in most of our organizations. But it's not simply just a brand name change or a switch over. What you're actually getting are a number of key features, enhanced experiences, and much better performance. Let's start with advanced features and capabilities. Teams can do simply more than Skype for Business online. Skype for Business was a great communicator tool, a great conference call and telephony system, but at the end of the day, Teams is far more rich when it comes to the overall communications and collaborations posture of our customers. It talks to a modern user experience, state-of-the-art cross-platform and mobile experiences. Teams on iOS and Android and Windows devices absolutely sing when you're in the meeting in terms of the quality of the call, the ability to share and collaborate and whiteboard. Again, that experience far exceeds what Skype for Business could do. And performance by design, it's really a reimagined client built for cloud-first infrastructure. Teams provides improvements in quality as well as operational metrics. So getting under the hood of your Teams performance is far more robust than we've seen before. And frankly, Teams adoption, we're very proud of. You can see the statistics there on the right side of the slide. Number of customers with 10,000 and more users, hundreds of thousands of companies in totality adopting Teams. So Teams truly is the next generation of collaboration tooling and takes the Skype for Business capabilities much further. Now, when we're talking about the transition from Teams or from Skype for Business to Teams, there's really 3 ways to look at it. First is what we call islands mode, and that's Teams and Skype for Business that runs side by side in parallel, if you will. So chats and calling, the users initiate calls from either client, the Skype for Business client, or the Teams client. You can see those on the imagery to the left of the slide. The incoming calls and chats land in the same client as the originator. Presence is separate, and there really isn't much interoperability. Now, from a meeting perspective, users can schedule meetings from either client. The Outlook shows both add-ins, and end users can join meetings from their respective clients as well. Skype for Business online customers should start with islands mode, so users can experience the full functionality of Teams really at their speed. So first and foremost, islands mode is a getting started strategy, if you will. Now, we move on to the second option, and that's really meetings first, moving meetings directly from Skype for Business into a Teams first environment. So the Skype for Business server for chat and calling address meetings, then and enterprise voice and chat. It really simplifies and streamlines that meeting-centric Teams experience. Now, Teams for Meetings really provides the richest meetings experience and also includes that additional meeting room capability devices and cloud video interoperability. Now, Skype's and Teams coexist. Teams and Skype for Business clients do play well together. Now, Skype for Business meetings are now Teams meetings, and IT really benefits by enabling to provision and reporting from a single client and single location. So we move from islands mode into meetings first mode, where we adopt Teams for all meeting functionality. And finally, we go to a full Teams adoption and Skype for Business exits the environment, Teams only mode. So chat and calling, we receive and initiate all chats and calls from Teams. We can still have interoperability from IM and calling with any Skype for Business user, but what it does is actually redirects the chat to Teams if users try to sign in to Skype for Business. We talked a little bit about meetings and existing contacts from Skype for Business, included federated contacts, and existing meetings migrate into full Teams as well once that adoption takes place. So first we have islands mode coexisting. Then we have let's adopt the meetings workload first in Teams. And then thirdly and finally, we turn Skype for Business off and we go all in on Teams mode for everything, including chat and calling, meetings, and data. Now, the slide I'm showing you here is a lot of text and copy, but essentially this is the roadmap from a Skype to Teams interoperability perspective. And you can see that 98% of all functionality currently in Skype for Business is in Teams. So in terms of the ability to, again, do most of what you're doing in Skype for Business, most of that is taken care of in Teams right now. There's a couple smaller features that are coming in the next few releases on the roadmap where we'll have parity and more. But in terms of having capabilities that would restrict an organization from moving, that sort of ship has sailed, and the availability of most of those features make Teams adoption right now a great opportunity for those Skype for Business users. Now, all of this, of course, comes alive when Teams is adopted. And we say that Microsoft Teams is the hub for teamwork in Office 365. Of course, Office 365 contains the apps we know and love and a number of services that underlay those applications, things like SharePoint, Exchange Online, and now, of course, Teams. And Teams was designed and continues to evolve based on those workplace trends that we're seeing in the marketplace. We have 5 generations working together. We have team-based and collaboration projects exploding. 80% of employee time now is spent collaborating. We're sort of not off on our own, running our own TPS reports, if you will, in silos. We're working together on teams, whether it's in perpetuity or closed timelines. And frankly, from a global perspective, this year, we expect almost 3/4 of workers worldwide will be working remotely in one way or another. And especially in the environment that we're currently living in, we expect working remotely to truly become the norm and exceed that 80% as we move into 2021. So with Teams, based on those needs from a market perspective, we've created this hub for teamwork where you have persistent one-on-one and group chat. And what we mean by persistent, as it's there, you can pick up mid-conversation. When you pick up your mobile phone, the chat is mid-conversation where you left off. So that persistent chat follows you from device to device. Powerful online meetings, again, unleashing the power of artificial intelligence to create things like closed captioning you're seeing at the bottom. That's machine learning and artificial intelligence. Imagine now this functionality now in a meeting, translating into dozens of potential languages. So folks around the world that may speak in a different language can fully be part of an inclusive meeting. So those online meetings provide depositories and repositories for meeting notes, video recording of those meetings and stream. So again, those online meetings are taking it to the next level, going beyond just audio conferencing. Now, speaking of audio conferencing, there is calling and voice capability within Teams. Phone plans, whether you buy calling plans or you port your own plan over, Teams is truly that one place for telephony, going beyond meetings and providing that voice solution, that conference call solution built right into this platform. And again, when you take Teams on your desktop, laptop, iOS, Android, MacBook, whatever it is, the client really does integrate the chat, the meetings, and the voice in one sort of beautiful canvas. And in addition to those three things, we have built-in Office 365 applications. And what I mean by that is Teams becomes that front end to access all of your documents in a smart, organized way, to share those files within Teams, to collaborate and co-author those documents within Teams. Again, all of those built into Office 365 applications and capabilities using Teams as the front end to do those things. And all of the course is underlined by that enterprise grade security and compliance that our customers rely on. Now, when we consider different scenarios, quite often we get asked, well, how can marketing or project management or education use Teams? I've shown a couple examples here, brief examples on how we can consider using Teams from a marketing perspective, creating a team on go-to-market activities across a group of diverse internal and external stakeholders. Now you can have your advertising and creative agencies on the phone and on Teams meetings with you as you collaborate on documents with your internal brand managers and marketing stakeholders. From an engineering perspective, you can collaborate on ideate on different ideas using different tools and then integrate with developer tools. Education, we're seeing a lot of education pick up with Teams, specifically in a world where remote education and remote learning and working is becoming certainly the norm these days. So how do we empower our students to create that co-learning collaborative environment using Microsoft Teams? So again, some ideas on how to think about leveraging Teams in your organization, whether it's department focused or whether it's project based versus those perpetuity groups, some different options in terms of thinking about how to roll out Teams. And CDW has a ton of great resources to help you navigate that Teams rollout once you decide to go with it. Now, from an IT and backend perspective, it's important that you know that Microsoft Teams is truly backed by Microsoft's enterprise-grade security. I'm not going to go through all of these in detail, but the underlying message here, more broadly, is that Teams benefits from the Microsoft security stack and compliance stack altogether. The Teams enforces team-wide and organizational two-factor authentication managed through Active Directory, and that provides encryption of data in transit and at rest. Files are stored in SharePoint and are backed by SharePoint encryption. Notes are stored in OneNote, again, fully backed by encryption. So all of the components that make up Teams are governed by Teams and Office 365 security. So there's two ways basically to manage your Teams security environment, whether you're using just the Teams dashboard or more importantly, the broader Office 365 and Microsoft 365 security and compliance centers that propagate policies through each application. We have advanced threat protection, much like Office and Azure. Advanced threat protection provides post-breach analytics, post-breach security, should documents or attachments come into the environment that may be malicious. Conditional access, policies can be set to invite folks in, how they sign on, from where they sign on, and all of those other things that come from conditional access and managing a conditional access environment. From a compliance perspective, all the great things that are now available in Office 365 are available across Teams. Things like e-discovery and data loss prevention policies, retention policies, and auditing and reporting. Rich, robust opportunities to see who's doing what in the environment and how things are related to your compliance posture, whether there's insider compliance risk, whether folks are exiting the business that require legal hold on data. All of these compliance policies, in addition to the security policies, can be managed through the Office 365 security and management dashboard. So all in all, because this is part of the Office 365 and Microsoft 365 platform, the security and compliance functionality goes through one pane of glass and again, propagates through the applications. A couple additional features here. We talked a little bit about e-discovery, legal hold, whether it's user, whether it's team, and then compliance content search. This can be done with or without an e-discovery case, but rich, robust artificial intelligence and machine learning search surfaces all of the content that's required in those litigation scenarios. So we've talked about Microsoft Teams security and compliance. We've talked about the robust capabilities leveraging Office 365 and Microsoft 365 security settings. I want to pivot a little now to Microsoft Teams meetings and rooms. We're going to extend the conversation from Microsoft 365 and Microsoft Teams being the collaboration hub in Office 365 to the Teams meetings and rooms experience. Now, again, we're developing this functionality, and CDW is taking this functionality and running with it because we do see market conditions and conditions at our customers that are really driving this change. 80% of employees are not spending their time collaborating. We're working in 2 times as many teams as just 5 years ago. We talked about that remote working statistic. 3/4 of the workforce will be working remotely this year. Half of us have meetings where we have at least one remote attendee. I'm remote right now doing this webinar from the old mill here in Toronto. And 15% of meeting rooms are equipped for video, even as video becomes the norm. So as our customers adopt these modern collaboration tools, they're not necessarily taking advantage of the full functionality and the inclusion and productivity features by introducing video and other modern meeting capabilities. Now, when we take a look at what a modern meeting attendee experience is, how do we feel? Well, on the left, based on a study that we commissioned, we feel stress with today's meetings. They're longer than planned. Attendees generally multitask. They come in unprepared. Folks are late, not on time. It's hard to schedule everyone. And frankly, we have too many meetings across too many platforms. Frankly, 60% of folks surveyed are unsatisfied with their current meetings, and that same number find meetings unproductive. So at the end of the day, more modern meetings are needed to help allay some of these concerns with the quality of our current meetings. Because over 50% of our meetings, why we're meeting, are about status or collaboration. That's the irony. Now, moving along, meetings should be everywhere. And with Microsoft Teams meetings, we realize this promise and vision. Meet anywhere, consistent experiences while at home or on the go, from the old mill, from in your room. It supports all types of meetings, whether they're spontaneous, they're scheduled, they're formal connections, they're one-on-one, or they're team and large group one-to-many experiences. Teams enables you to realize those different types. And really, we can take internal stakeholders and include external stakeholders for broad communications and teams interaction. Quite often, I'll have teams meetings with my friends, Brian, et cetera, at CDW. And again, that experience, that one touch, one platform experience helps us get to our meeting from anywhere very quickly. Now, when we talk about meeting with intelligence, we talk about contextual collaboration that keeps people connected and getting done work faster. How can we share documents, collaborate on documents during the meeting in real time? So we're getting out of that email conundrum and those versionings back and forth. I'm on version 1, you're on version 2, who's on version 3, who's on 4th, 5th, and 6th, etc. So when we meet with intelligence, that contextual collaboration really helps us get things done. It also, brings the meeting to life with video, and that video allows us to share and interact and be more human in those meeting situations. So again, we become more productive and more collaborative, frankly, and leveraging AI for meeting assistance. And again, this isn't rise of the machines AI. This is using things like translation, closed captioning. All of that is artificial intelligence that makes meetings smarter, more efficient, and more inclusive. And finally, meet with confidence. Meetings just work, whether it's over Wi-Fi or cellular networks. The architecture that underpins Microsoft Teams was built from the ground up to perform in the worst of conditions so that it performs exceptional in the best of conditions. So this is not a Skype rebrand, a Skype for Business rebrand that uses old architecture. This is all new servicing, all new plumbing to make sure that the experience is consistent worldwide from anywhere, anytime, with intelligence. So meetings for everyone truly gets unleashed with Microsoft Teams. It allows you to meet anywhere, meet with intelligence, and meet with confidence. Yeah. How do we bring the Microsoft Teams experience to every meeting? Well, First, we can transform our meeting rooms with Teams. We can make any space really a Teams meeting room. I'm sitting again at the old mill in a corner here near the lobby, making this a Teams meeting. I don't have my video turned on because I didn't put myself together well enough for this particular audience. But certainly I can turn the video on and make this a collaborative video experience. Microsoft Teams is really easy to use and deploy. It's all backed by Office 365 and Microsoft 365 Admin Center. So you're actually deploying it and monitoring it like any other Office 365 application. And truly, the connections with hardware and software is seamless across any platform. So that's the first thing on how we bring the Microsoft experience to every meeting. Think about the room, think about the space, realize it's easy to simple, it's easy to deploy and manage, and it truly can connect with unlimited hardware and software options. Now, what does Teams do that enables great meetings, efficient meetings, and productive meetings? First, Teams allows you to one-touch join. I'll show you some hardware shortly, but you can see on this particular setup the Teams interface coming alive on a beautiful slate that is the room controller, perhaps a Crest-on unit. One touch, video join, room join, conference join, one-touch phone calls. Very easy to share video and share documents and center and collaborate on documents. And truly, the center of room control becomes this Crest-on device. And the beauty is there is a ton of devices that work, whether it's our own laptops, whether they're OEM devices, your Surface hardware, whether it's an iOS or Android handheld device, we can make any space a Microsoft Teams meeting. The dedicated meeting app across all devices truly makes it easy for that one-touch join. And really, Microsoft Teams does scale to all room sizes, whether it's a very small focus room or a larger boardroom. Microsoft Teams does integrate with existing investments. So whether or not you make your own small Microsoft Teams meeting using your own hardware, and Microsoft Teams is the software and the collaboration plane, or you go all out and create very specific boardrooms with Microsoft Teams hardware, really the options are endless. And again, it's really easy to deploy and simple to manage. They're Windows 10 devices, universal applications that are managed through existing tools. And because Teams is becoming the collaboration norm in organizations, there is a training effort, but we see as organizations adopt Teams, they're starting to learn more and more about that end user functionality. But certainly, it's always a journey to make sure that our customers and our organizations that embrace Microsoft Teams, Teams meetings, and Teams rooms can do so with very little ramp up. Now, the hardware, really the center of a Microsoft Teams room, if you're going all out, is a touch controller that allows you to manage the Microsoft Teams meeting environment. And again, I'll show you a couple examples. You can see one example there in the center of the screen. It is the familiar Windows Teams application built for Windows 10. So the interface is exactly the same as Teams on your iOS device, Android, or your desktop. It connects seamlessly with displays and projectors, cameras, and speakers, and you can actually enhance the audio and video experience with peripheral devices. So again, this is really the Cadillac standard of meetings rooms when you go with a fully integrated Microsoft Teams meeting with Microsoft Teams hardware. So there's some great devices from Crestron, Lenovo, Logitech, Poly. They're beautiful devices. Like I said, they're Windows 10, easy to deploy, easy to manage, and they do really bring a meeting room to life through the Teams experience. Again, this is the ultimate when it comes to meeting room and meeting experiences. Now, we do have a ton of resources for you. I'm not going to go through them. They'll be shared by our friends at CDW, so please contact your account manager if you don't see this proactively. It's here for you. But the resources speak to the journey to Teams, whether it's an adoption of Teams all out or whether it's a Skype to Teams journey. How do we onboard users? Some readiness and training there for you. How do you roll out teams? How do you keep it successful and ongoing? There's some adoption kit support there for you. And then from a tech perspective and under the hood perspective, there's some resources for some of those folks that may be more technical. When it comes to the teams, rooms, and hardware, there's some additional resources for you on this slide. And again, feel free to peruse at your own leisure and take a look at some of this incredible hardware that brings the Microsoft Teams meetings to life. So we've talked about Microsoft Teams, Teams meetings, Teams rooms, Teams governance and security, all things Teams. I'm going to take the last 10 to 15 minutes to talk about the Microsoft Power Platform. And this platform it can actually be an extension of Microsoft Teams. And you can see that when we start this conversation. The Microsoft Power Platform truly is four components, if you will. Microsoft Power Platform is a low-code platform that spans our three clouds, Office, Azure, and Dynamics, and has four real pillars to allow us to innovate anywhere and unlock value everywhere. How marketing-esque, if you will. So the first component is Power BI. This is the Gartner leading, Forrester leading, out-of-the-box visualization software that's really taken off for us. That's Power BI. The next part of the Power Platform, the next component are Power Apps, and these are low-code application development. The third thing is Power Automate. This is process automation. This is what we used to call flow. This is now Power Automate. And finally, there's intelligent virtual agents that take advantage of our Azure AI virtual agent SDKs and all that other good stuff in the background, APIs that allow you to plug into our virtual agents. For the purpose today, we're going to talk about Power Apps and Power Automate. Now, Power Apps, what are the benefits of low-code app development? Well, that allows our citizen developers, if you will, to focus on innovating while we in our IT department really take care of the rest. It allows for that increased development agility. Quite often at Microsoft, we'll have a co-op student come in and develop a Power App for us, for example, on how we can track our swag, something as simple as that. We have an inventory of things to give away to our partners and customers. How do we request them, manage them, create a workflow that connects to email to make sure the items are delivered, etc. Not something I would necessarily go and spend big bucks and spend resources on from an app development perspective, but something that we can develop internally and that you can develop on Power Apps using Power Automate. And this, of course, is all about speed, agility, and savings and efficiency. Power Apps, because it's part of the Microsoft family of tooling, it really does work seamlessly with Dynamics, Office, and Azure. So we can actually build custom applications in hours and not months. And these truly connect to your data and systems to solve problems faster. Like I said, that example that I gave you on how we track certain things internally in my particular business group at Microsoft, I think was coded and developed within 6 hours. And it creates an incredible front-end user experience, a great mobile experience, but also enables us to have the intelligence and metrics and data in the background to see what's doing what and who's requesting what and what's being requested most and placing automatic orders. So truly, Power Apps is for all organizations, big or small, or organizations within organizations, or departments within organizations. And truly, it's for all makers. I've taken a couple Power Apps courses. I'm not someone that's technical or a developer by trade, but man, I tell you, it is very easy to build very simple applications. Really from anybody. And we call that really the citizen developer and the pro developer on the flip side. And really it's for innovation. We can leverage common data services with pre-built artificial intelligent models to actually unlock innovation faster, to glean insights from the data that's garnered from our Power App platform. So again, Power Apps, low code applications that can be built in hours for all organizations, for anybody at any time to really drive innovation that allows our IT and dev folks to focus on the big uber large projects as citizen developers fill the need for some of those easy applications. So how do we start learning? Well, there's a ton of learning that we do internally that we encourage our customers and partners to look at. And we've started providing some documentation for you here. And our friends at CDW will make sure that this gets in your hands. But truly, it's about online learning and step-by-step guidance And we actually have a great tutorial on how you can create your first application, a step-by-step instruction on how to create your first application so you can see how truly easy it is, how secure it is, and how scalable it is. So I would encourage everyone on the phone to go back to your shops and have people start dabbling in Power Apps. Think about how we can automate or how we can create applications for those tasks that are otherwise manual. And then we can consider Power Automate, the next step, the next cog in our Power Platform. And what Microsoft Power Automate does, again, this is what we used to call Flow. It's a low-code cloud automation platform. It unlocks data with AI. It automates our UI with RPA and orchestrates APIs with built-in connectors. So it can take a ton of stuff from a ton of resources and create a very seamless automation path. It truly creates that opportunity for automation at scale. How can we efficiently scale automation across your organization? I'll give you a couple of examples of what that looks like. It's seamless and secure automation because it's part of the Power Platform. We can confidently enable end users to build those automated workflows in a secure, compliant manner and ensure that our IT managers and IT department are fully confident that those applications are staying within the bounds of your security posture. Accelerated productivity. How do we automate mundane tasks, repetitive tasks, time-consuming tasks to create more time for our teams to focus on more value-added business building opportunities? And it allows us to actually increase that automation through intelligent automation using artificial intelligence, learning as things automate, making the process better, and applying that machine learning and iterative learning to the automation process, making it smarter and making it better. So how do we scale automation efficiently? We have some pre-built templates you can start using. We have 300 plus connectors you can begin connecting to. Of course, it integrates with our Microsoft ecosystem across our 3 clouds as well as on premises. Here are some of the connectors that are available. What we mean by connectors is sources of data to bring in to Power Automate, to automate those processes. Here's very simple Power Automate that we can do, and it gives you that real idea of what this can do. Look at the first one, save Office 365 email attachments to OneDrive for Business. Again, something very personal, very simple, but think of the idea that you've now created a Power Automate that in the background is running. It takes all of your Office 365 attachments and saves them to your appropriate OneDrive for Business folder without having to do that one email at a time. Right click, save attachment, save all attachment. So it's going beyond just creating a rule, but creating a workflow, right? Get a push notification with updates from a Flow blog. How do we create that notification workflow? How do we track Outlook.com emails in an Excel spreadsheet, right? A lot of very simple processes that can be automated through low-code Power Automate. Here's one good example too that brings it to life for human resources, a little bit more real than some of the examples I've shown before. Think about onboarding new employees. Power Automate really democratizes that intelligent automation by putting it into the hands of non-technical users. So now human resources can create an application with Power Apps. And what I mean by application is an application for applications to the organization, resumes, etc. And the HR department gets notification when an offer is then signed. Approvals for that onboarding is then automated. And once all of that takes place, an automatic welcome email is sent. So we've taken it a little bit further. You create the Power App, you have the applicant submit their resume, an application, an offer letter is created. We then go into Power Automate where the candidate signs the offer and HR gets that notification. All of the approvals take place through the automated workflow and the welcome email is automatically deployed. Again, the idea here is taking what would be repeatable mundane tasks and using Power Apps and Power Automate to make the process far more seamless, and far more automated, freeing up your HR department to do way more cool things. Now, again, resources for you and your folks. Join the Power Automate community. Low code automation, low code power app development is truly all over the place these days. I know that as I continue my learning journey, this is an area that I'm going to pay special attention to because there's a ton of opportunity for your organizations, again, to save money potentially and drive innovation and drive automation through the Power Platform. That wraps up the content piece of my webinar today. If you do have any questions, please reach out to your CDW account rep. They'll be happy to provide you the answers and direction that you need. They'll also be happy to share this deck and these resources for you. As you go on your Microsoft Teams journey, your Microsoft Teams meetings and rooms journey, and how you think about integrating the Power Platform in your businesses to automate mundane and repetitive workflows and creating low code, impactful, beautiful applications through Power Apps. Thank you, Brian and the CDW team. A special thanks to those that listened and attended the webinar today. Have a great day, stay safe, and thank you very much.